So, Christina, why is the rum gone?
It's always gone.
But why is the rum
feel
gone?
bad for the podcast listeners because they can't see Christina's awesome outfit. She's part of the curse. She's she's all bones over there.
Yeah, I'm the curse crew. Come at me.
It feels like we've all been kind of cursed for a long while, but yeah. So how are you doing?
Yeah,
Christina?
quarantine. Neither alive nor dead.
Yeah, I know. We've all been in this. Well, I'm fully vaccinated, so that's good.
Yay, me too.
Yeah, I
John,
get
you're almost there, right?
I get my second shot on Wednesday.
Nice.
So,
Dear listeners, I hope you are going out and getting the vaccine and not being an asshole. Please go do it.
Yeah, it's I didn't intend. It's funny. We're talking about heavy stuff starting off, listeners. But no, actually, I just saw a news story. Well, I mean, I've been seeing news stories for a while now that the percentage of people who are going for vaccinations here in Florida is just plummeting, and it's like, guys, what are you doing? Why?
You don't want the scurvy.
Yeah. So
it's not like the pirate code. They're not more like guidelines. You need to just go and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait because I've already got my calendar set for 2 weeks after my shot. I'm taking a trip to the Barnes and Noble at last after all this time because I cannot wait to step inside a bookstore and just do my
smell
browsing.
Of books. And that's the thing is, I also miss this about my university library is what you can do right now is order books and then go pick them up. But the good thing about going to the library is you always find these books around that book you were looking for that are also good for your project that just didn't show up for whatever reason when you were looking in the catalog. So it's it's not the same. And same thing with a bookstore, with ordering books online. At Barnes & Noble, you'll find stuff you didn't even know you needed.
Oh, yeah, no, and they sell stuff, too, and I'm bad at that. I'm like, give me all this. So, you go to they've got the Game of Thrones merch, which is now probably 80% off. So you're like, give me all that. And then
soon they'll have that Hot D merch.
No, stop it. No, I will.
Who?
I will never get on board with this. Okay.
Wait, who's Hot D?
House of the Dragon.
Oh God.
It's Hot D. They knew when they made that. They know about hashtagging. They know that we hashtag and shorten things like GOT. They knew it was going to be Hot D, and they did it anyway. No. And I respect them for that.
No.
It's probably the best marketing decision they've made.
Yeah,
since,
seriously.
Season 4.
Sex sells.
Yeah. Come on, it's HBO. House of the
Titties.
Yeah. House of the Titties and Dragons was its working title, so.
It's its working title?
But
this is why we have you on, Christina.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
why
it's already off the rails. But
we're never on the rails, John.
I know, but anyway, you've been on before, Christina, at least on the former iteration of this podcast, which was strictly a YouTube live stream. But since we're now reaching out, hopefully, to a bigger audience, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks?
All right. My name's Christina, or Lady Triple on Twitter, but that's a whole nickname, and it comes from Xtina, which you can also call me. And yeah, I work in marketing research. I'm a survey researcher. I've worked in television before with some major networks, but now I work in telecom, so very different. But I am a consumer of media. I like video games. I like, Game of Thrones. And yeah, I met you guys on Twitter, and it's been really fun getting to know you and joining you and talking about the stuff that we love.
Yeah, and what's ironic is the last time you were on, it also had to do with skeletons because you were on for our Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, I was on your channel for Zuko Talk.
And you were on, exactly. And if you want more Lady Triple, because I know you do, dear listeners, on the Amy Blackfire pod, my podcast, she comes on to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and she's going to get me to read the Kyoshi novels, and we're going to have a book club and discussions about that. So lots of, and also randomly, I'm also going to have you on to talk about Degrassi and the 97 Cinderella. So we've got lots planned. She should have never agreed to come on the first time, because once you agree to come on my pod, I will ask you again.
No, I'm fine with it. You know, I like coming, I like guesting. I don't have my own podcast for a reason, because I don't want to do the work. So I'm happy to come on and bask in your glory with you.
Yeah, because, well, and last time you were on, which I hadn't thought about that at the time, Amy, that both like skeleton themed things, but yeah, it totally is. But we had such a great time on that stream, and I remember thinking, okay, we're gonna have her back for Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just taken a little while to get there, but yeah, I'm like, I guess we can just start off by saying, like, what was your experience seeing Pirates of the Caribbean, and like, why do you love it so much, Christina?
Pot C, you mean? Sorry, I had to. Yeah, so I love Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously. I mean, it came out when I was 13, so it was very influential, I feel like, to my upbringing, my teen life. You know, I remember at school I had a head, like a scarf with skulls on it, similar to the one I'm wearing, but it was actually white with black skulls. And it's like I would wear it on my head, and I'd braid my hair, put a braid in my hair, and like go to school, and I'd be, like a badass. And I felt like it kind of, it made me feel a little bit more badass. I definitely had a summer like sitting in my room watching Johnny Depp movies. That was fun. I don't like the whole thing. I mean, it was like one of the first movies I was allowed to like go to the premiere at midnight, or it was like 10 p.m. or something like that. I remember like waiting and watching it, and I loved it. And it's just a great, like, even on the rewatch. So I rewatched it like last fall when I had COVID, and recent, like this week for the pod, and it's just a great movie. Just even the first one as a standalone, great movie. And then they get, increasingly more complex, and it still all works. And I don't know, I feel like they're a great example of nailing funny, like having a good mix of like serious, funny. Oh my gosh, my dogs.
Baby Zuko.
I know, they just ran into a door. They're swashbuckling right now, but here they go. Anyway, they're circling.
Oh, I see a tail in the background. Those of you on YouTube, now the YouTube algorithm will favor us because you have a pet on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
is that Maya?
Yeah, Maya's little black tail. Hello.
I do apologize to the podcast listeners, because it's a rule of YouTube that when there's a pet on screen, everything has to stop. So let's.
And Zuko has a coat on because he hurt his eyes. So there's this like moving coat.
I know they didn't have an eye patch for him, but he's here in spirit. Yeah, like that's what I love. Oh my gosh, come on, guys. No. All right, no, that's what I love about the movie. I like how. Okay, I will say, like, I have criticisms when I watch like the Marvel movies, and they try to be funny in the action scenes, and it just doesn't work. And like this, the comedy completely works the whole time. It's so funny. Everyone's got great lines, like great one-liners, great replies to things. I can quote this movie forever, and I love it. And that's just a few of the things. I mean, it did like impact me, my style. Culturally, it was a huge thing. If you remember, it's like you have to go back before the vampires and the zombies, and it's like everybody was about pirates before then. Yeah, I love it, and it's great rewatching it. It's a movie that you can just like put on and rewatch anytime because there's nothing wrong with it. Right?
Christina, you will get nothing but bonus points from me for slamming the elements of Marvel movies in favor of Pirates of the Caribbean. So,
Oops.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. I said it.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it. Before vampires and zombies, we were obsessed with pirates.
We were. We definitely were.
Oh, I remember just like stuff like Happy Meals and everything. Everything was pirates. So I'm I think 3 years younger than Christina. So I was 10 when it came out, but then it was still popular enough that when I was in high school orchestra, we played pirates all the time at concerts, and everyone was like, "Yeah, it's pirates!" So it stayed popular for a very long time, even after, you know. And as we know, there are only 3 movies, so it stopped then, and there was nothing else. So.
No, the original trilogy is canon. The rest is, you know, Disney's got to milk.
Apocryphal.
That's what they do. They milk everything.
Yeah, it was just a cash cow that they kept kicking that dead horse.
I mean, I will say it's commendable that they turned a ride into a movie.
That's true.
I can't think of another instance of that.
That'd be hilarious if all of a sudden it's like coming in 2022, Splash Mountain.
Oh God, which one? That's me. Ooh, it's like Song of the South. They're
that's not good. Yeah. Forget this. Disney's like, this never happened.
Yeah, they didn't have a disclaimer before this movie, so because I was, you know, like I noticed when they did the disclaimers, they did it before Aladdin, and you know, like kind of the apology. You know what? Like, I get Disney's trying. I don't know. I live in Orlando, so I feel like I have to drink, you know, the Kool-Aid's like probably in my tap water. So they're trying, you know, I'll give it to them. Like, they're trying to be more inclusive on a mainstream scale. And it's like slow moving, but it's moving. So that's nice. But
yeah, but there's no need for a disclaimer on this movie because it's perfect.
It is.
So, but okay. So we've had some objective talk about the Pirates of the Caribbean love. Now it's time to, you know, get down to the nitty gritty truth. And because this is actually, we're sneaking this in here, not so much sneaking it in because Amy and I have talked about it very loudly, but this is like the first installment in a series we're calling the Nightly Hour, where we cover all things Keira Knightley. And let's just be perfectly honest. She's the star. This is this is the poster we're putting up because this is Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, a Keira Knightley film.
The plot centers around her.
Yeah.
Just saying. All the plot progressions are because Miss Elizabeth Swann is there.
Well, she did such a great job. Like, I love how the movies progress and how she becomes a bit of a pirate, and she's smart, she's beautiful, she's everything. And I love how they utilized her, you know, British atonement, you know, I'm proper and I'm wearing a corset, and then they made her funny, they made her dynamic, they made her just a real character, right? Not just kind of like flat. Elizabeth Swann has a huge personality, and I stan.
Yeah, because I mean, even in this one where she's kind of in the sort of, I don't want to say she's you know, filling the damsel in distress role, because actually she does a lot of stuff in this film that's counter to that. But
yeah, and I got in trouble for that on Instagram for saying that. That she transforms from a damsel in distress to a pirate king. And then someone commented, "She was always not a damsel." I was like, "Okay, sorry, Instagram people."
But yeah, the film is presenting her in that sort of, you know, cliche of, you know, that mode of this is the, you know, fulfilling the damsel kind of role. But even throughout this film, she's really moving against that. And then as the story progresses, it's just she becomes, more and more powerful to the point where she then becomes the Pirate King. And Amy, like, we're not talking about the third film today, but like, I think both of us absolutely love that big speech she
The
gives.
speech, yeah. When she kind of has like a little bit in this movie too, where she's like, "We're going back, right, for Jack," and everyone's like, "No," and then she's all of a sudden in the rowboat. She's like, "Pirates!"
Yeah.
She obviously has a moral code that they do not have, which is why when she becomes the Pirate King, it feels like well deserved and kind of like a new era, if you will, of hey, we've gotten this reputation. Let's prove them wrong. Let's prove that we can be loyal.
God, I respect her so much. Like, she knew when to quit too. She knew, like, the 3 movies. Bye. Right? I mean, gosh, yeah. Elizabeth Swann's great. I love the character, but what she brought to it, like, I can't imagine another actress as that role. And like, you hear the rumors about what, like, Margot Robbie's gonna take the franchise now, which will be interesting, but it's like I can't imagine anyone else as Elizabeth Swann and like having that journey, and she did it really well. And yeah, I mean, I love her character. Someone I definitely looked up to in high school as I was becoming a pirate myself.
I completely, and Amy will attest to this. I lost my mind when the like news started coming out, and they were like Pirates of the Caribbean to, have a strong female lead. I'm like, you had a strong female lead, you dummies. But it's probably good that she, you've got the original 3, which are the only 3, and then that's it. So
yeah, such a great cast. Obviously, Joffrey Rush?
Jeffrey Rush, yeah.
Jeffrey, yeah. He was incredible. I actually saw him act. I studied abroad in Australia, and that's where he's from. And I was in New South Wales, and I saw him act. It was like, I don't know, it was some show, and it was just him on the stage, and it was kind of like stadium seating, and it was just him, and he was playing like a guy who goes crazy for like 2 hours, and it was just him talking to himself, and it was one of the best things I've ever seen live. Like, you really get like, this guy's an actor, right? And him as Barbossa is just he's such a, I love how they took tropes and just leaned into them and didn't make them corny in this movie. And he's kind of the epitome of it, right? He's such a pirate captain, but
there's a point where he actually goes, "Yar."
But it's so, but
and the way that he goes from laughing to get to work.
Yeah, he's got swag. Like, he's just got that swagger where he can deliver corny lines and they sound genuine. It's like, oh, this is what they meant by a pirate. And his casting, obviously Johnny Depp's like own, twist, like, drunk, eccentric pirate was incredible, and obviously that's why it's become what it has. I know. I love the shot of this where it's like looking up, and you think you could be on the
top. Yeah, I mean, like
on the top of this great ship, but it's just sinking.
It's funny because obviously I was gonna launch into Keira talk, but like I do remember seeing this movie for the first time, and like one of the most iconic moments ever is that is his introduction where he comes in on the ship and it builds it up like he's on this huge ship, and this is like, this is a very serious character, and, he's this legendary, pirate, which, he is, but in a different way, kind of. And then the second he jumps down and you see the size of this thing, I just remember being in the theater and the audience just erupted into laughter.
The part where it's like, it's however many shillings to tie up the boat, and he looks back and it's just like the top of the mast. It's like, really? You're gonna charge him for that?
I really do want to like spend some time just like appreciating his performance because we kind of take it for granted now. Oh, it's Jack Sparrow, but like at the time, it was such an outside the box crazy performance, and like I wasn't even like a Johnny Depp fan prior to this, not because I didn't like him, but because I never really watched much of his films growing up or anything, and he didn't seem like the kind of actor who would do like a big summer blockbuster. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Nothing could have prepared me for when I saw the movie, and and he comes onto the screen. He's just absolutely hilarious, and I actually think that like this is my favorite of the movies for his performance because I think there's sort of a dark edge to his performance here, and in the later ones he kind of leans into the laughter and the jokes and stuff. This is, you don't always know quite what to make of him or what his intentions are. And
yeah, he was doing some like double, triple crossing, and
Yeah.
you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, oh, he's obviously incredibly smart and intuitive, but he's always playing for, Team Jack, right?
Yeah.
No matter like where the tides are taking him, so to speak. But I mean, I love even when they were doing that cannon battle, he's like, stop shooting into my ship, and all that. Like he's always self-interested, but then there's more to him for sure. And yeah, Johnny Depp this was the role he'll be remembered for, and he's an incredible actor. I mean, I think a lot of people in this movie have been like canceled and stuff, and I don't even want to go into that, and I don't even know what to make of all that, but like he's an incredible actor. Like whatever you want to say about him, he can act, and this role is the one that he'll probably be remembered for. Just so iconic, and he's an like from Edward Scissorhands. He's the kid who played Edward Scissorhands to this. Like this is kind of peak Depp here.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that he was actually nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for this, and like I'll never like that was. Let me just say, like, Amy, you know my feelings currently about the Oscars, but 2003 was a really good year.
2003, John was all over that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just it took the world by storm, and that's why I don't really want to go into that other stuff, because for me that's all, it's a very present day discussion. I find myself when I watch this movie, I'm transported back into 2003, and it's hard for me to divorce like my sort of crazy fandom of the day from the experience of watching this movie. So I just have a blast watching Jack Sparrow on screen, and I don't think that ever goes away.
And I think the way that it's kind of continued to be a part of our culture, like there's an SNL skit from like 2009 where it's Michael Bolton, and they're trying to do like a song about clubbing, and he had just watched all the Pirates of the Caribbean over again, and so he's obsessed with them, as we all are when we watch them, and so he's like constantly wanting to sing about Jack Sparrow, and they're like, stop, he's interrupting, and one of my favorite lines is he's like, the Jester of Tortuga. It's just like the best. Like it was such a part of early to mid, aughts, if you will, culture, that it's like even if people hadn't seen it, they knew about Pirates of the Caribbean. And I don't really know anyone who hasn't
who
seen
didn't
it.
See it. Who didn't see it? I want to talk to them.
I know. It's everyone has seen it. Like if not in the theaters, then later. Hi, Zooks. Sorry. I can't not. When there's a dog, I can't not say hi. I know he can't hear me because you have headphones on, but he knows that his Auntie Amy is here.
He does.
I want to say, like, following up on what you were just saying about like everybody had seen this, I remember I had an absolutely hilarious conversation. Well, it wasn't funny to me at the time, but now I find it really funny. I was like having a work lunch or something, and I was with a couple of my coworkers, and we were on the subject talking about movies, and somehow the topic of like Orlando Bloom came up, and she just started like fangirling over Orlando Bloom and talked about how handsome he was, and 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 then I was also then talking about the movie Troy, which was getting ready to come out like the following year, and I said, yeah, and it's got Sean Bean, and she was like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, it's Boromir from Lord of the Rings, and she's like, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. She was a fan, Orlando fangirl from Pirates, which just showed you like how far reaching it was to even people who like weren't into like fantasy films and stuff like that. Everybody was seeing Pirates and going crazy over it.
I mean, gosh, yeah, like think about that transition though of him as an actor. It was like, oh, I'm in Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh, now I'm in the Pirates trilogy. Oh my gosh. Talk about hitting gold.
Yeah, he was making bank in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and then he retired or whatever. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but I know what he's doing. He's like paddleboarding naked with Katy Perry or whatever. And like, do it. Do it. You gave us everything we needed.
Bro.
I mean, he gave us, Hot D, right? He was naked on that thing. And
I'm so glad
that was more than we deserved, honestly.
I'm so glad we let you know about this this term.
That was the third franchise he was in. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, guys, but he did do that. Google it. I like everybody was just really well cast. I mean, everything about this movie was perfect. I mean, I can't think of anything I would change, and that's kind of rare these days.
I mean, my main issue with it was diversity, but they really changed that, especially with this the second or the third movie where they have the Pirate King Council.
The third, I think.
The third.
I think it's the beginning of the
like,
third.
There's a Chinese pirate queen, and there's a black pirate king, and it's like, yay!
Yeah, and
there
Calypso.
Are non-white people on screen for more
Calypso's black.
Yeah, Calypso. Yeah. So my main issue with the first movie is remedied later. So I'm like, you learned, Disney.
Well, and then they had Zoe Saldana. She was the
which I was always bummed. I was always bummed she didn't come. That she didn't return for the second and third. I mean, I'm sure there were probably a myriad of issues as to maybe why that didn't happen. But I really enjoy her a lot in this, especially having watched her go on to bigger things, Star Trek and Avatar and all that stuff. So. It's really fun when she pops up in this. I'm like, it's Zoe Saldana.
I know. It's like when you watch Community. I don't know if you guys watch that, but we're rewatching that, and you watch it, and you're like, oh my god, everybody here went on to do amazing things. And that's like
it's like also watching Parks and Rec, and you see Chris Pratt, like the chubby guy, and it's like in like 5 years he's gonna be the Star-Lord hunk.
I originally saw him in the OC season 4, which no one should watch or talk about, but I had to end my suffering, and yeah, he was in that, which was really bizarre. It was like, I think that was before Parks and Rec, but either way, I actually just recently watched Jurassic World, the 2 movies, and
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm going on the roller coaster on Sunday, so
yay!
They've got the new roller coaster, so
Christina's a theme park princess over
there.
I
am.
Chilling in Florida.
Yeah, I got the season pass to Universal. Disney isn't doing the season pass. Like, I'm so annoyed with them, honestly, right now. We just got in to, like, we found an open spot to Galaxy's Edge in a few weeks, and it's like, oh my god, I just want to go. Like, I live here. I just want to go on in a few weeks, and it's like everything you have to plan out in advance. I still haven't been to Magic Kingdom. Sorry, don't
really
hurt me.
Wow.
I heard that they didn't sell alcohol there, and I was like,
oh well, that automatic.
Magic.
You go to Epcot for alcohol.
Yeah, well, like where like the magic's like what? How can you call yourself the most magical place on earth and not serve alcohol?
Seriously, also like those parents are dealing with like screaming running kids that are like over like sugared and overeager and excited. They give the parents what they need, alcohol.
Yes, and if you're like using shuttles and stuff, it's all you've got DD, so
Yep.
you know, like have fun, get sauced. I mean, that's like now I know why my parents
Christina,
didn't take
have
me
fun,
to.
get sauce.
That's why my parents didn't take me to the Magic Kingdom because they didn't serve alcohol. It all makes sense. I was like, why didn't my parents ever take me to
Your
Disney?
parents should have pre-gamed that shit.
No, my parents took me to Bourbon Street in New Orleans instead, and I cried because my mom was grinding. Sorry, this is.
Darn it, you have to finish that sentence. Grinding.
I started grinding. My mom was grinding on a stranger, and I didn't understand what it meant on Bourbon Street because she was sauced.
So much about you now makes sense, Christina.
And my parents were married, and I looked at my dad. I'm like, Dad, Mom's a whore. I don't even know how I learned that word. I probably learned that word that day on Bourbon. I mean, it was Bourbon Street, you know. But anyway,
you can't stop kids from learning things on Bourbon Street.
No, I think about that though, and I'm like, that's why my parents didn't take me to Magic Kingdom. But I did hear that the Pirates of the Caribbean ride like has, and it's funny how we say Caribbean when you refer to that, but I always say Caribbean when it's not.
I think I
but it doesn't sound right when I'm saying the title of the movie. It's like
the Caribbean. Yeah. But gosh, I love these movies. I love the whole trilogy. I love the story of it. I know it got really complex later, but I like it a lot. I actually played like did you guys ever play the Wii game of it?
No, I kind of I don't want to talk about my generation of video game playing because that's just gonna make me feel bad. No, because I pretty much dropped off of
Pong
video. No, around
sorry,
around N64 is like the last thing I was
really
into. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I loved playing Crash Bandicoot on my N64, man. I was great at Crash Bandicoot.
I was good at that too. No, I'm a gamer, so I played the whole, like, they had a Pirates game, and it was the first 3 movies as a video game, which I felt like I got to, like, I felt like I knew the story better after that, because I remember in the second movie how he breaks out of the prison, and they had you actually break out of the prison. I think the movie started with him just like kind of like it was like the escape, or just the end of it, where the video game you got to actually like play through all of it and expanded on a lot of things. And I don't know, I guess it helped me like get through, process the movies and everything, because gosh, it was a good story. Even the first one works as a standalone, and then it like
when you go back to watch it, there's so many things layered in that the sequels build upon, and it's because I know the writers talked about how they retroactively like made this mythology out of, they put stuff into the first movie and they had like ideas about it, but I think at the time they said like, yeah, we knew that an adaptation of Pirates of the Caribbean was going to launch into a major franchise for us to make this grand mythology. It's like, no, we were just screwing around.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's like work. It's like, yeah, I knew that would come up again. It's called job security. They're like, Disney's got a lot of money to throw around. I mean, getting like Jerry Bruckheimer in that score for one movie, I mean, that was an epic soundtrack.
Well, and it's funny actually because just by virtue of the fact that it was a Jerry Bruckheimer production is the reason why it has a soundtrack like that. Because the first composer they hired was a very talented composer named Alan Silvestri, who did the score to Back to the Future, and even though I'm loath to mention them, the Avengers movies. Um, Eh, and and I think he would have probably delivered something like a more sort of classical pirate score. But it's a Jerry Bruckheimer film, so I think that they decided no, we need more of that sort of Jerry Bruckheimer sound. So that's when they brought in, actually for the first movie, it was a composer named Klaus Badelt, who's one of Hans Zimmer's proteges. Which basically means that you can be sure that Hans Zimmer worked on the score at some point because he did the scores for the sequels. And like it's just one of those amazing it's I mean it's got orchestral elements, but it's like a rock and roll score almost with the vibe they're going for. And I just like talking again about that opening scene with Jack, just that sort of pirate anthem, in the films. It's fantastic.
This action, it like gets your heart. I mean, it makes me, I could like work out to that,
Yeah.
It's like, it makes me want to run around and steal stuff or swashbuckle or whatever that means. I don't even know what that means.
And the way, like in the final scene when he's singing the Yo-Ho song, and the strings start to build underneath that, and then as soon as he closes the compass and it cuts to black and that music kicks in, it's just, you walk out of the theater like just ready to go, and you're so hyped up. And
yeah, it's really exciting, and it's just it's such a roadmap. And I guess I will say, like, the criticism for the trilogy was, I think it got complex for people, like the story and the nuances, but I still loved it. Like, I got it and I loved it, but I know that that's people's criticism of it, but the first one as a standalone is absolutely perfect. I mean, just even like just researching it recently and seeing just the little touches, like they made all the crew of the Black Pearl have jaundice. Their eyes are all yellow. Sorry, my swashbuckling puppies.
Yeah,
yes, they have jaundice. Look at that.
Yeah, I have a picture up of Pintel and Rigetti, and like these guys are just
they're so
absolutely
funny.
Wonderful.
I stand them.
Cute.
It may not be canon that they're gay lovers, but to me they are.
Oh, come on, like, the thing with the eye is like, we're gonna get you a new eye.
I know, they take care of each other.
And like in the first movie, they're actually a little threatening at times. They lighten up like as the movies go on, and they just become a pure comic duo. But like I love these guys, and they're and then you've got like over on the on the side of the military, you've got the two goofy guys who are like, for comparison, the one that Jack has, the ones that Jack has the conversation with.
Yeah, the other two.
Yeah.
And then they finally meet each other and have like a duel of the two like side character funny people. I like everybody in this movie was well cast. They all had a purpose. There's no one that I would be like, oh, I love Gibbs, for example.
Yeah.
He's great. Oh gosh, he's so funny. He's so funny. Like how he just over exaggerates everything.
I will say there's
his pirate talk.
There is one line in this movie that every time I find awkward, and maybe it's just me, but you're the captain's daughter. Every time I'm like, you're the governor's daughter.
Oh yeah,
I've always found that line weird every single time I've watched.
Oh, from the maid, yeah. It's like, oh, you're special.
Yeah, it's like they're coming for you, and she's like, what? Like, you're the governor's daughter. I'm just like, I don't know what it is about that line. It just seems like the worst delivered line in the whole movie, and I think it's because the rest of the movie has these amazing one-liners, that I'm like, that maid just could have not been there. So when you said like, oh, people could have, I was like, the maid could have just not been
That
there.
actress is coming for you now.
She's gonna at
Oh,
me.
the governor's daughter.
Like I know that was like her one main line, and I bet every day she was practicing it in front of the mirror. So I'm sorry. And I'm good for you for being in such a successful movie. I hated that line, and I do
she
to this day.
A strongly worded letter.
I had forgotten how much I hated it, and then until this rewatch, and I was like, I really hate that line. I don't know. It's the inflection of her voice. I don't know what it is.
I never really thought about it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe I'm ruining it for everyone. But I saw it in the theater, and I was like, I don't like that. And then I've seen it 10 times.
I'm gonna be thinking about that now. Every time I watch the movie, I'm being like,
I'm thinking about you sitting in the theater like, I don't like that.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
No, I don't like that.
No, it's literally like 10-year-old Amy being like, I don't like that.
No, you know what it was? You know what it was? It was Amy being like, yeah, you think you can hold a candle to Keira?
Don't you order her around.
Don't you tell her. No, is that the same maid that was like, that Will Turner is also cute?
Yeah.
It's like, you presume too much.
That's a smart match. Yeah.
That is a smart match. She's like, Will Turner, is also good looking. She's like, you are being too bold. I don't know. I don't know. That maid is the woman that played that maid is gonna come after me. But I didn't like anything you did. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
She's like, I was here. I love that hot D, and now you're turning on me.
To that actress, you want to put your, let her know your email address, Amy.
Send all complaints to our intern that totally exists, Dan, at Voice of Geekdom on YouTube. So he does some work for us, because we're a bigger podcast than his, 2,000 subscribers. So.
Oh God, yeah. No, Dan doesn't have anything big going on. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's not busy at all.
But yeah, no, it's just, you're right. Like, everybody is great in this movie, and I love,
except for the maid.
Okay.
Except for the rando maid.
I'm sorry, I'll leave it alone.
I'm trying to move on.
No, I know.
I'm trying to get you
out
out
you're
of this
trying to move on, but I won't let you.
Whoa there. One of y'all's gonna have to walk the plank. I love that they had someone walk. They had her walk the plank. Like I love that they took little pirate tropes and just they leaned into them, but they did it with. I don't even know how to call. In snowboarding, it's called steezy, where you're saying it's stylish and easy. Yes, where it's like they lean into the trope, right? They're not subverting a trope. They are leaning into it, and they make it look good. It's not funny. It's not like it's not a joke, even though the movie's funny. I love it. I love how they do it.
And I just love Barbosa's point where he's like, you didn't say when or where or how we were going to release her. You've got to, every time you're making a deal with a pirate, like, he's only going to give exactly what you say. You have to be specific. Like with your wishes when you find a genie.
Probably one of my favorite, lines and then line deliveries ever is when, Will gets up on there. It's like, he's all serious. She goes free. And, they have that discussion out, and then Barbosa is like, name your terms, Mr. Turner. Elizabeth goes free. Yes, we know that one. Anything else?
He's like, he didn't say when or where. And he's like, ha ha ha. I love, oh gosh, I love Jeffrey Rush. Just so good in this role.
Well, because he it's this line between, his performance is genuine, and he has, even his, moments of pathos, especially, his final line where he says, I feel cold. Yeah, it's such a...
every time.
Yeah. but then he's also able to lean into like these sort of ridiculous on the nose pirate, moments, and so he gets to like be genuine but also chew up the scenery. And I don't think there's many actors who could really balance that, and he's just so utterly
Yeah.
brilliant at
And
it.
I forgot how good his speech is to Elizabeth whenever she's eating, right? And he's like, "Oh, no
Yeah.
need to stand on, ceremony," and so she like attacks the turkey leg or whatever it is. And the part where he says, nothing will quench our thirst, like nothing will, fill our hunger, nothing will, sate our lust. It's just like,
Yeah.
you just picture a pirate like going at it with as many women as possible, being like, "I'm still horny." It's just one of the
Which can
funniest
I just say, I was like so innocent back when I saw this movie, like when they're actually at the
Oh yeah, they said
Pirate'cade,
pleasurable company.
and
is
no,
what it
no,
was.
not that, but like, and when he says, the first thing I'm gonna do when the curse is lifted, and he's like, eat a whole bushel of apples, and like, there's multiple things going on there, and
Oh, God.
I don't think I really thought about this, especially
I don't
watching
think
the
I did either.
especially
Hello.
watching a Disney movie. I'm like, although
You
there's
must
a
really
lot of,
like apples.
Yeah, Disney be like that though.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, especially with this series, there's a lot of like double entendres, like especially like in the second movie, there's that moment between Elizabeth and Jack where, you know,
Oh yeah, no, they were totally flirting the whole time. And then, I mean, come on, remember the telescope measuring scene from the third one? It
Yeah.
was like, wait, you have to go like.
Oh god.
I used to do that in the cafeteria at school. That's why.
Sounds
No
like we
wonder
were
I'm
both
weird.
cool in high school, Christina.
Yeah.
Sean, show off your shirt. Sorry, John, show off your shirt. Have you done that yet?
Oh yeah.
I
No.
tried to say, John, show off your shirt, and it turned
Oh
into
my gosh,
Sean.
I love how it's all Keira.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course it
Of
is.
course it is.
Did you have that made or?
No, I got it off of Etsy.
Oh my gosh.
Or
Send me
either
the
Etsy
link.
or Redbubble.
Yeah,
I
both
think
places for
I
all
think
of
it
your
was
fandom
Redbubble.
needs.
I'll
They're
send
our
you a link,
sponsor for this episode. I'm just kidding.
and you can actually get like different colors. I got this color because it actually reminded me of Kira's dress in this movie.
Yes.
The one that Barbosa crudely says, "I'll be having that back before you go."
That was so good. I mean, that's the whole thing, though, is like she really, as an actress being so young, she really stands her own in the presence of like these epic performances. Like Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush were like each to their own, were just A plus tier. And she's out there like, what, 17? Like, how old was she? 17, 18?
She was 17 when they filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's standing her own with these, fucking old legends up in here. Like,
Yeah, that have been at it for quite a while.
that's
Yeah.
insane. That's amazing.
Yeah, and actually, I'm
Golf
trying
clap.
to look up because we actually had a comment on Twitter that I wanted to actually credit, and because I think it's an interesting
Is it on
point.
it was probably on my Twitter.
Yeah,
Right?
from cynical archivist on Twitter. One might wonder whether Keira would be portrayed the same way nowadays, considering she wasn't yet 18 when filmed. This may make me sound stuffy. No, it doesn't. But I think it's worth bringing up. So, what do you guys think? Because there is some kind of there's some stuff that's a little like because when they're on the island together, Jack and Elizabeth, like, let's just be honest, Jack is pretty confident he's going to get laid. Like with the whole, twirling up his mustache thing, and he is very, very drunk. But but I don't know that we would see that kind of stuff in a modern production of these movies. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I saw it as flirting, but it was, I don't know. I thought like the actors had, I don't know. Oh gosh, I don't want to say anything wrong, but like, I don't know. I thought that they had a chemistry that was supposed to be there and like evident, and it's not like he was. I don't know. I don't know. Amy.
Yeah, well,
Well,
Amy,
like,
go first.
in the end, Christina's just like she's making me walk the plank for this. But I think that a lot of the scenes would have read differently, especially not just with Jack, but the Captain Barbosa when he has that line of like nothing will sate our lusts, and he kind of looks at her. Like, I think if she was a little older, they might have been able to maybe take that scene a little bit further, because there is this kind of, obviously, pirates are also associated with sexual assault. I'll just put that out there. It's
well,
not
what about the
you
you'll
know.
be dining with the crew?
Yeah, naked
thing.
right? Yeah,
like that was the biggest one.
yeah,
thought.
I actually think the Barbosa stuff is okay because he's meant to be threatening in that scene, and he is like, especially in this first movie, like the pirates are still like bad guys, like except for like Jack's a hero in the movie, but in later movies like the pirates are like on the defensive, and we see them as as sort of good guys. But in this first movie, you've still got the crew of the Black Pearl, which are very vicious, not good, people. And so I think the fact that Barbosa is saying that stuff, I don't like. He's not supposed to be a good person. Like I think that's fine. It's the scene where when Pentel and Rigetti come in, and that moment is played for laughs of you'll be dining with the crew and you'll be naked. I think that would be different nowadays.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
not good. That one felt like that was the only time where I felt like
Icky.
she was being threatened. Yeah, like
Yeah.
threatened without her, that like it was even coaxing the viewers to like think about it, which is not good. But I will say, at the end where they're sacrificing her blood and he only like cut her hand, and he's like, yeah, that's, thinking like that's all that they needed. Like he was still being generous, and I don't know. I don't think he was. I don't know. I mean,
but I do
trying to think about
all
like
of the
being
male
a host.
characters see her as a possible love interest, and that is what makes it, can make it uncomfortable, especially nowadays, which is where, it's her sexuality is so kind of is the focus of a lot of these guys. Like, and the end, whenever Jack is like,
give her some
sorry, it would have never worked out
though.
with us, and she has that look like in the man's head. Even just like spending time with her, even when she's mad at her, like setting fire to a freaking island and stuff,
Yeah.
like you still think like that she's interested in him. Like, I think it does show the kind of internal dialogue, sorry John, that a lot of guys have about where they like picture this possibility with a woman who is not at all into them. Every guy that I can think of that I know has had that experience where they like had this whole thing in their head about being with someone, and then it just doesn't happen.
No
Including
comment.
my partner. So
yeah, like let's give her some agency. Like maybe she's using it to her advantage, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know.
I think it's also this weird thing where like, and I'm not saying that this is right, but I think that probably there was this idea like that we can portray her in sort of having these in these more mature scenarios, because Keira has always looked older for her age. So but I think that's all the more reason to like keep in mind she was only 17. I think there's been this tendency to present her as more mature, and older than she was at the time. I mean, it's funny when you think to Love Actually, when I think she was 18 when she filmed that, but there was only like, I think like 5 years difference between her and Liam Neeson's son in that movie. So, which is insane. And like I said, she's always looked, older for her age. So, but when you think about that, just like a 5-year age gap, and you got this little tiny, adorable kid, it just does make you think that maybe it was, it's just sort of the movie industry at large, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as the character, she was like of marrying age,
Yeah.
right? So that's a little. I mean, I don't know. It's like when you compare Game of Thrones, and you're like, oh, well, Daenerys was 13. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
also it was kind of like a different. Like I don't know. You're trying to.
Yeah, I think it's
was
a
like, no, Christina, stop it.
Yeah, I think it's a
Stop
combination of it being a period piece
Yeah.
where obviously, there was a time where you had the older men going, after younger ladies, and that was just sort of an accepted thing. And then also the whole Hollywood thing where older men are always getting paired up with younger ladies. So it's just,
Which is why movies like The Graduate were like, oh, a older woman going for a younger man? It's like, all you do is change the gender and it's like scandalous. And yet the other way for like centuries has been totally normal. Normalized, not normal because it's not normal. And so, and I'm not saying you can't have an age gap. I mean, I'm with someone, we have a big age gap, but I am an adult.
I mean,
once you get to a certain age, it's a little bit more okay.
Well, like her and Orlando Bloom were. I mean, throughout the whole thing, it was like clearly they were the love interest, even though she was engaged to Norrington, and they had. I love they had great chemistry.
Yeah,
as a pair, it was believable, and they didn't do the whole like.
Yeah, I will say.
Well, and she symbolically marries him by taking his name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Movie,
like she
by
was
calling herself
like,
Turner.
Yeah, that was so cute. It was like she had a crush on him and everything. I don't know. I thought the whole she definitely had a flirtation with Jack Sparrow, but I don't doubt that she knew that and she was like playing it up to get her way, and not in a bad way, like in a you go.
I think I do think it's important that they didn't really start to actually play that up as an actual romance until the sequels, which at point she was of age. So I felt I'm fine with that. I will say, talking again about her and Orlando Bloom, I mean, obviously I'll go on all day about how Keira is, incredibly underappreciated for these movies, but also I think just the duo of her and Orlando Bloom, Will and Elizabeth, I think that as characters and as actors, they're both vastly underappreciated for what they brought to these films. Because everybody always goes on about, oh, Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, but you see where the series. I'm not saying it did continue on, but if it had, you can see like what the missing element was. I think that they brought, like, because it is their story. Jack is, Johnny Depp was the superstar, and he brought that wild card element to the story, but the actual story, the narrative progression is the love story of these two characters, and I just don't think they often get enough credit for being the heart and soul of these movies.
And not to say that Captain Jack Sparrow isn't funny on his own, but some of his funniest moments are when he's playing off Orlando Bloom or Keira Knightley. So, he does have those one. Also, and the guy that she's supposed to marry, right? When he's like, you're the worst pirate I've ever heard of. But you have heard of me. Like they had to set him up for those one-liners. So I think that we often forget that, I think too many people see everyone as the supporting cast for Jack Sparrow, when actually I kind of think it's the other way around. He kind of supports them with like comedic drive, but the plot progression is all about Will and Elizabeth. I mean, it starts with her finding him as a kid, right? And finding the gold, like their connection is kind of the soul of the story.
Yeah, they definitely drive the storytelling, and I mean, even going later into like, his, he's on like a path of self-reflection. They're the typical like, I'm young and I'm finding myself and I'm growing, whereas everyone around them's kind of established and I don't want to say like doesn't change, but they're kind of rooted in who they are and their characters, whereas she like Elizabeth and Will are transforming and figuring out who they are. Like he's the son of the pirate. And then like his whole journey with Bootstrap Bill and Davy Jones and Davy Jones' locker and all that. And I love I just love the trio. I love the three of them as the trio. They make a good trio and they balance each other out really well. Like I don't look at her and think that she's just like, the cliche like set piece woman, right? Like she's her own person and they're all kind of equals in my eyes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Just the three of them together, playing off each other, it's just magic that I don't think was there with any of like Jack's interactions in the other films. And I don't think I even appreciated it at the time when these movies came out, like like how important that was as an element to these movies. And yeah, and it's just it's great to watch them. And like, the whole thing with, I mean, you can think of so many scenes like when Jack and Will are like dueling and in the
they
beginning
go from
of the film.
dueling, and then I mean, gosh, they went through so much together, and then they stole the ship, and then they're figuring that
and
out.
the ship part, like that was really smart, where you get them to come on this ship, and then you go to the nicer ship and sail away, and they've already prepared it for you. Like I really like that part. And then there's the guy who says to the man that Elizabeth is supposed to be like, "That's the smartest pirate I've ever seen, or the best pirate I've ever seen." It's great.
So it would seem.
Yeah.
But no, like with Will and Jack, I love their back and forth, before they, plan to take the ship, where, the dialogue, like, we're going to steal a ship, that ship, commandeer, nautical term, we're going to commandeer that ship. He's like, just one thing, boy, or there's no worth going. This girl, how far are you willing to go to save her? I'd die for her. Oh, good. No worries then. But again, like that's like what we're talking about. Like these actors like set Jack up for these jokes, and and it's the interplay amongst these characters that's so absolutely hilarious. And even like Jack and Barbossa, like just because Barbossa is so like quote unquote evil and dark, and Jack, like, he puts his face in front of the telescope. And he's like, I'm having a thought here, Barbossa.
And the part where he's like, thank you, Jack. We named the monkey Jack. And of course, my favorite character, other than Keira, other than Elizabeth, is the monkey. So...
Oh gosh!
Oh, really?
I'm always
no one could have seen that coming.
I remember waiting after the credits for like a monkey scene. Like they'd have a monkey scene after the credits, and you're like, "Oh my god, I've got to go analyze that." I don't even know. It was probably LiveJournal at the time. It wasn't even Reddit. Way back then.
Okay, so we're about an hour in, so let's just pause for a minute. We'll do our mid-roll. For those watching, as always, we're not done yet, so just hang with us. So next weekend, Amy, we're going to be recording a discussion of X2, X-Men United.
Which the X-Men United is like always forgotten. It's just X2.
Well, because it's not actually. I say the
On
full
the movie poster, it's like X2. It's like the main thing. And then
yeah, and in the movie, it's actually just X2.
Just X2.
X-Men United was for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
And so, but like I say it just in case people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But we're going to be joined by Kelly and Jenna, who spoke with us about the first film. And and we're just, I know, like, I can't, like, when there's dogs on screen,
little comb puppy too. I mean,
he's got a cone. He's a cone.
They're trying to be all cute.
The cone of
shame. Might let them out. I'm gonna go let them out.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're going to be discussing that. It's so great because we were on break for so long. I love the fact that we're finally getting into these things, and then a week after that, we're going to be doing a discussion on The Little Mermaid. With
we're going to be a part of your world, dear listeners.
With Bronte,
Brontarios.
Bronte. That's it. Okay.
Bronte.
And also, he's gonna kick my ass at some point. I just make these jokes.
You
say
like he can. He's 120 pounds, John. He's not gonna kick anyone's ass.
What are you saying exactly, Amy? No, and we'll also be joined by Kelly for that, who kind of likes Disney movies a little bit.
Kate?
Kate, yeah. Oh.
It's because we just talked about Kelly on X.
There I go again.
It's the K names. You can't seem to get them straight, John. Come on. Am I gonna have to call John Bronte in that, or Bronsteries in that episode? Because I call him John, and that's just gonna be weird.
You're gonna have to do something.
I'm gonna have to do something because there's gonna be two Johns on that stream. So I'm going to have to call you John, and I can't call him Bronte. It's just weird for me.
Well, then call him John B. But
John B. All right. I'm going to call him John B.
Or you can we'll just establish a rule that says that you can only call me J-Dubs.
J-Dubs, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Like I feel better about that, because, like, he's your John.
He was here first, and he's my John. So...
Wait a second, was he?
He was born first.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Ooh, my John.
he's my John. J-Dubs is my podcast sibling, and then Bronsteries is my John. So
okay.
Yeah. Because I don't feel right about giving priority to me for the simple John name, because that somehow doesn't seem right. So J-Dubs it will be for that.
J-Dubs and John B. I'll keep them separate, dear listeners, I promise. We're going to have a really good time talking about The Little Mermaid. And Bronte, I'll say that for the promo. Bronte is a huge fan of The Little Mermaid. We watched it together a couple of months ago, and he was like, "You cannot sing the songs, Amy. I want to hear the songs." I was like, "How about I go into the next room when the songs come on to sing the songs?" And that was what we did. I literally went into the next room because I can't not sing the songs when I'm watching a Disney movie. So that was our compromise. We make it work.
Oh my God, he's so me. He really is, because
he's like, I don't want you to, Amy. I know you know all the words to the song, but like I want to hear Ariel sing the song. I'm like, fine.
I am totally that person who, like, watching a movie with someone, I'm like, please be quiet. Do not say anything.
You must be so fun at parties, John.
I am. Well, yeah, I'm a social butterfly.
Yes.
So
Christina's doing the go snap.
I feel I'm not.
The mid-roll is actually where I shit on John. That's what the mid-roll is for. It's not for promoting what's coming up next.
Impossible.
For
playing country
yellow pumpkin. Dang it!
No, it's country bumpkin.
Country pumpkin.
So Christina, if you want to take another break, I'm gonna let Amy go ahead and plug her things.
Yeah, go ahead and come back in 15 minutes now. I have a lot coming up. I'm going to take off some, if not all of June, because I'm getting married, so kind of got a lot of crap to do. And I call it crap. I'm very excited for it. I'm going to finally see my parents. I'm very excited for that. So I've got that going on. So I'm going to take off most of June, but May I have a buddy banter, special birthday buddy banter, triple B cubed. And I have chosen the topic because it's my birthday month of May. So I'm going to have on all of my previous buddies, which is this guy right here, J-Dubs, Low the Links, Micah, and Yogi, who does Through the Moon Door. Moon Door is 2 words. And all 4 of them are going to come on, and we're going to pick shows from our teen years that we were obsessed with. So I'm going to talk about Supernatural and Degrassi and Charmed. And I don't know what everyone else is going to talk about, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to have them give me like their top 3 and then some honorable mentions. So we're going to talk about our teen years and what these shows meant to us. I think Lo's going to talk about Vampire Diaries, so I'm excited for that. We're going to have a really good time, and that's going to be a live stream. That's the only time I live stream on my channel is for Buddy Banter. Oh, Zuko. And I'm really excited this Sunday. I'm recording with a Degrassi podcaster, and we're going to talk about Degrassi. We're going to talk about our favorite couples and couples that shouldn't have been on the show. So that's going to be really fun.
Amy, you can take solace in the knowledge that at least podcast listeners will have listened to you, because I guarantee you that nobody on YouTube heard any of that.
No, okay, I am.
Yeah, anyone on YouTube is like dog. I don't blame them at all. I'm also hoping to get off one more Aswaff episode before I take a break. And my friend Julie and I, we wrote a letter to Jon Snow about all of our feelings, and now we're going to write a letter to Quaithe and why she's dumb and she needs to just stop. So we're gonna have a really good time talking about Quaithe and about prophecy in general in this series, and how we much prefer other prophetic characters over her. Apparently Christina stands Quaithe.
What?
But we're gonna have a good time talking about that.
Time for a SmackDown.
And in July, she's gonna leave the stream. And then July, I'm gonna do that sweet Links Fire content. Low the Links, Amy Blackfire. We're coming together again for lots of fun adventures. But I will leave it there. Please check out Amy Blackfire. I'm on YouTube, and I am also on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Podbean. So, yay. And follow me on Twitter.
Yay.
Now everyone can wake up. My part is over.
Amy's always got so much going on, and I love it. That's what I love about her.
Amy,
oh my god, and LaCroix, coconut. I can see that.
Coconut LaCroix. And like I said earlier, Christina's gonna come on to do some more Avatar and maybe some Korra stuff too. So we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Cinderella.
And the Kyoshi novels.
Wait, impossible.
I'm so excited for that.
When
I rewatched it, I was like, is it as magical as I remember? And I was like, it is, and like the colors. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about our canon Cinderella, 97 Cinderella with Brandy.
I feel bad. I kept like pushing it off, but obviously like life happened. But
oh, it's fine. Life is happening for me too, so I'm not in any rush. I know all of this is gonna eventually come out soon.
Congrats. No, I know about the whole like roller coaster of marriage, obviously. My husband and I, we just ended up
we're doing something super low-key anyway because of COVID, and it's still so much.
No, we straight up I went to his parents' backyard with a box of stuff I ordered on Amazon, and I was like, throw these fake lilies in the pool, like, let's get married.
Nice.
And I did it, and I mean, it's like, whatever, if we want to do something else later, like, we will, but tax season ain't gonna, it's only delayed like a month, so
that's great.
Right. Sorry. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what I have to promote. Obviously follow @Litbringers, my crew.
Yes, it is lit over there.
Yeah, we get lit all day. I mean, eventually I feel like we'll want to do podcasts eventually, but
you guys kill it with the visuals though, like with all of the cosplay and everything. I feel
it's all about Mandy. Mandy's so good.
Yeah, Mandy is so good at that. Like, if you want, like, my favorite, I like all of them, but my favorite so far is the King's Road one.
Oh yes.
Yeah, take me home the King's Road.
That one's good. I love the OG. Did you ever see the butterfly one?
I did.
That one's my favorite. Like I get that song in my head randomly. Like I'll be like, "You're my butterfly." Wait, Dracarys, baby. Like it's so good.
So good.
It's so good. I love that one. It's so funny because she's like, I don't like that one anymore. And
Oh.
yeah, I know. She's amazing. She's like one of those talented people that's like, oh, sorry, my genius isn't good enough for me, you know. But yeah, there's that. Then I also gotta give a shout out to my mom because I realized that I said the Bourbon Street story and I like realize that she listens to this stuff when I do it, and that's awesome. Love you, Mom. Thanks for supporting me. Sorry about the Bourbon Street story. You were just living it up. You were in your 30s.
Living your best life.
Yeah, you were in your 30s. Like, I get it now that I'm 31 right now. So I get it now. When I was 8, I didn't get it, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I failed you as a daughter. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of mothers, I'm sorry, John. I did have one more thing to plug. Nessie, the Unspun Yarn on YouTube. We have this little series we like to call "Bleep the Patriarchy," and our next episode
Bleep it, y'all.
Bleep it, y'all. And our next episode is going to be with Mrs. Blackfire herself, my mother, and it's going to be a special Mother's Day episode. And we are going to talk about my mom's experience with feminism in the 70s and how she raised me as a feminist. And also she was in the Air Force and worked for the FAA. So she's also going to talk about patriarchy on planes. So that's going to be very fun.
Wait, so when is that one?
Journey.
That's going to be Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Okay, so I'm probably going to be...
Eastern?
So I'm actually going to have that day off of work because that's when I'm getting my shot. So I might feel like crap.
But you're going to be...
But I'll be watching.
So please join us. We do some great feminist analysis. Our last episodes have been on Bleep Ahoy, Patriarchy on the High Seas with Kelly. And we also had one about toxic masculinity with J-Dubs and Steven. And we've also had our wonderful friend Lo the Links on to Bleep the Binary, talking about the gendered binary. Yeah, we have a lot of great stuff. So please check out Nessie. She deserves your sub probably more than anyone in this whole world. She works very hard, and she only really has 2 days a month to actually put out some content because she's a respiratory therapist and she's off saving lives. So, no big deal. NBD. I'm over here being like, I'm writing essays about Chinese literature. This is totally changing the world. And she's over here like, I'm saving people from dying of COVID. It's like, okay, yeah, you win. So please check out Nessie over at the Unspun Yarn. She's amazing.
And speaking of Nessie, because I'm a horrible co-host and I forgot to to mention, she obviously, along with Steven and I, does Here Be Dragons over on YouTube. And that's going to sound weird to people who are watching this on YouTube. It's like, yes, on this platform that
on
you're
YouTube,
watching.
duh, we're here.
Yeah. On Sunday, this is releasing on Saturday. So yeah, it'll be tomorrow when you guys are watching this. We'll be having our 100 episode stream, and like I can't believe it's been that many episodes. It's crazy, and we're just going to be goofing around, and we're going to be giving away some prizes of special note. And you guys, of course, I'm giving away some Keira Blu-rays. So if you're interested in having copies of the Keira Knightley, Joe Wright trilogy of Pride and Prejudice, Atonement, and Anna Karenina, then make sure you're watching the stream so you can have a chance.
You have to be there live. That is the only way you will win that sweet, sweet prize. So yeah. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 p.m. on Sunday. So yeah, it's... I just can't believe it's been like... I know I haven't technically been like a part of it for all of those 100 episodes, but most of them. And it's just like I still freak out when I think back to when Steven was like, "Hey John, I'd like you to become a dragon." I'm like, I've always wanted to be a dragon. You want me to be on the podcast
Cheers to
or the stream? Yeah. Yes.
Yay, Steven.
Cheers.
Both,
Cheers to him. But
both
also cheers
Stephen.
to you. I mean, that's so much. I'm glad that I got to be 1/50th of it. This is my second, so I'm happy for that. And congrats. That's a great accomplishment. And yay,
Yeah.
yay,
It's
party.
it's just funny for me to think of back when I first started like reaching out to a couple people in the community on YouTube, and I was like, you know, like I mean, I'm still a shy person, at least I think so.
I remember
And
that. I remember
and
you reaching out to me on Facebook, and you were like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Wait, I live in Florida too, and you went to Con of Thrones, so did I." I mean, did we talk at Con of Thrones? I don't even think we.
no, because
Yeah.
I was still very much like I was that, like, let's put it this way, like on the final night of the con, like I went down to like the hotel bar where everybody was congregating. I was totally that person who you just see like navigating like in between people, too afraid to actually talk to anybody. And just praying for some kind of miracle that's going to get me to utter 5 words to somebody. And
And
so
look how far you've come, though. Look how far you've come, right?
yeah,
And that was.
yeah,
I mean, I can't believe it's almost been 2 years because, oh my God, pandemic, right? But that's
which
awesome.
I always say, like, I'm really sorry, guys, because the pandemic was clearly my fault because I decided to start socializing with people. Um,
No, I
but
mean, I remember you reaching out to me, and I mean, I think it was before you started the podcast, but I remember that, and I was like, oh yeah, I live in Florida too, and like I remember chatting with you, and when you added me on Facebook and everything, and I was like, yes, and
yeah,
it's been really awesome, just like watching you grow from the
oh,
sidelines. Like, good for you.
thank
I
you.
don't know, happy for
Yeah,
you.
I remember like yeah, it's like every time I like reached out to try and say hi to another person, it was the most nerve-wracking experience because that's not my natural mode. I feel more comfortable about it now, but I'm just always like, what am I doing? And
I don't even know what that feels like, John. Like, I don't even know because I like reached out to a Degrassi podcaster I didn't even know 3 weeks ago and was like, "Come on my pod!" Like, it's my extroversion has saved me a lot of grief.
Amy.
So
Amy came in hot during the pandemic. She was like, "Whoop, I'm in here."
I know I was just
It's
like
the pandemic.
dropping that content.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey,
drop.
I've only been here since June 2020. You're gonna feel like I've been here the whole time."
I know. Well, you know what? I came in hot in like 2019, and I mean, I came in hot because I was friends with, or I became friends with Aziz and Ashea from History of Westeros, and I was,
Which
because
is the
we
dream.
became friends at
They know who I
Icebreaker
am.
Con.
I have talked to them. Shea has messaged me on Facebook.
They should know if you're friends with me. They know who you are. No, just I mean,
Yes.
it's not like that.
Once I meet them in person,
We're
I
actually
can
close.
officially call them my friends. But right now, it's like I'm still kind of a fangirl of History
I know.
of Westeros.
It's cool because I recognized them by their voice at the con. I was like, wait, I recognize that voice, and they were behind me. It was really awkward because I was like, wait, I know that voice, and for me, I got them confused with Radio Westeros, so I was like, is that Yolk Boy and Lady Gwen, or is that Aziz and Ashea? And then I looked and I was like, oh yeah, that's Aziz and Ashea. And then it's like, okay, be cool, and then I remember hanging out with them at the bonfire that night, it's an awesome con, and they had bonfires and everything. So I saw them at the bonfire and I'm like, hey, what's up? And then Ashea was using me to get to Kyle, or KW Dent on Twitter, because him and I were doing a podcast together. And so she was using me to get to Kyle, but then we actually became friends because she was using me for a game that they play there, and she ended up winning that year. So I'm glad that I was like part of at least it was like a winner's story. It wasn't like she was second place and she used me, but she totally used me to get to him. So she I think she was like, I don't know. It was like half genuine, half not, like being my friend to get to know this guy that I was hanging out with schedule or something. And either way, whatever, she won the thing, and then she ended up being my friend anyway. So that's cool. And then we went to the three of us. They invited me after that. can you imagine, like, History of Westeros, like, hey, do you want to go to Ireland with us and like go to Worldcon? And I was like, yes. So I went to Ireland with them, and then I drove them around. There's a whole YouTube thing where I guested on their channel, and it was like Tales from Ireland or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. We went to Ireland. We met George
It
multiple
was
times.
like a fun travelogue.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, that's a good YouTube thing. I was like, wow, people are actually watching this, and it was like I got to go into their studio, and I was like, whoa. I mean, it was really, they just like converted their living room, like they set it up and set it down every single time, and I'm like, wait, this is it? It's like a just a wall in their living room with the posters, and then they like set up their studio, and it was super intimidating. I will say that. But yeah, fun times. And
Yeah, I mean, I just I'm really excited now that like, you know, I'm gonna be
yeah,
fully vaccinated soon, and I'm looking forward to finally, you know, in the near future, getting to actually meet
are we doing
people
Crown of
for real.
Thrones?
And
I mean, it's in Orlando. Hey.
yeah, like as of right now, it's still going ahead. So like, you know, fingers
May
crossed.
and I have our tickets, so we'll see.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm here. Like,
he does all
I'm
the
here.
planning. It's my favorite thing in the whole world because every other couple I've been in, I've had to automatically be the planner because the other person in the couple was like, just like couldn't think past tomorrow. And then I like intentionally
feel
got
the
with
same
someone
way.
who's even more of a planner than I am, so that I could just like sit back and be like, there
Oh
you
my
go.
God,
Like,
actual
I'm working on
same.
catering for the wedding, and that's it. He's
Are
doing
we
everything.
cloned? I feel like we're the same person, Amy. Your bingo, I got like every single space.
I
in,
know the bingo
and-
stuff. Yeah, it was only more when I made it. I was like, I'm pretty sure, Chris. And a couple of the things like I basically stole from your bingo board, like yoga and Lacroix. I was like, that's me. I'd be lying if I didn't put that on there. So
I know. I was like,
Christina's
I
at
could
least
see
gonna
your
get
coconut
two.
from here, girl. No, but oh my gosh, no, guys, come to Crown of Thrones because
I'll be
when I
there
live
if it's
here-
on. Bay and
Yeah.
I will be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I have like no excuse to not go because I literally live in Florida, so I don't even
Yeah.
have to hop on a plane. So
I know. I was gonna say it. Like, obviously, we'll probably have like we already have two friends coming that weekend, but like, I'll put you guys. I mean, if you guys want to come up to our house and chill, like that's cool. We can talk
yeah,
about
you're not gonna have to twist my arm.
it.
Go
I know,
and pet
our house
your
is
dogs.
amazing.
I couldn't.
I know you gotta
possibly.
meet Zooks.
I want to meet
Amy.
Zooks and Mai so bad.
I know they're so dutiful right now.
I
I know.
It's so
It's like,
cute.
wait, there they are.
Oh, there we
Look at
go.
them-
All calmed down.
Look at them duty. That's duty. Oh,
Okay, so as much as like I just want to keep this going, and
Everybody come to the
our
con.
topic is Pirates of the Caribbean, so we should probably veer back onto that.
Potsy.
Patsy!
Potsy. What?
So I don't know, like, do you guys have a favorite part of this film? Like, there's just so much to love.
That's
though.
a really hard question.
I mean, the sword fighting scene between Will and Jack was just amazing, and so like you could analyze that up and down, and people have, and I recommend YouTube for that. Because oh my gosh, I mean, even like just the moves and everything were well done from a sword fighting standpoint. The character interaction, all of that, like he's sizing him up, trying to see how he is, like buddy buddy. Like I love that scene. That's a great one. There you go.
I think I like the one where they're loading the cannons with anything they can find, and then that guy was like drinking, and then he takes his.
No, that's the whole thing about the movie. Like the continuity is amazing because that it's like that thing of rum makes it. I think it's across like 4 different scenes or something. It has a journey. It has its own journey.
The little thing of rum itself as a character. But I just really like that part too, especially when we see it like getting thrown into the Black Pearl and there's just like forks everywhere. I don't know what it is about that. It just really, it was so charming. I love that whole scene. And then Jack comes back and he's like, here's your own thing.
And just in general, like, I couldn't have imagined canon fighting being interesting and exciting. And they really, like, made the ship combat interesting, thrilling. It was great. What
And
about
the
And
you?
it felt
record
kind of
and
like a dance too, with how they like put down the anchor and move it around. It's very
that
interesting.
well, the way that whole scene even starts off, I absolutely love, because going back again to the story, it all starts with that moment when Barbosa is holding the apple and then he throws it, and then the music kicks in. It's like dum ba bum bum dum ba, and then it launches into this grand theme, and then you've got like Will coming up and saying, Gibbs, we have to stand and fight, and he gives this whole speech. And the way Elizabeth is sort of looking at him with sort of this admiration of him, like taking charge, and the way they shoot her with like her hair sort of blowing in the wind as the music kicks up. And it's just like, it's so good, just the way the whole scene is constructed.
I also like when Elizabeth is taken captive and they've had the whole scene where they're eating together, and then she comes out and the moonlight is out and she sees all of the skeletons, and then they have this like scene where she falls, and then they're like it's so playful the way that they make her go up and down, and she's screaming her head off because she's so afraid, and they're just like, this is fun.
Or
like
even
just
at
the
the
difference
end.
is so interesting.
Yeah, no, even at the end, remember when they were sword fighting and the moonlight comes down and it
Yeah.
switches between real
Oh,
life
that
and
that
the
sword
skeleton?
fight
That was so
between
well done.
Yeah.
Jack and Barbosa as
Yeah.
they're going through, and like it's
Gosh, that
like
was so well done.
I can't like say like how like absolutely perfect, like it's the culmination in that scene, actually the sword fight between those two, that really sells like what they did with this first film, as far as like building up Jack Sparrow as this like legendary character in one film, where they're fighting and there's like a pause in the fight, and Barbosa is like, so what now, Jack Sparrow? We to be two immortals locked in an epic battle till Judgment Day and trumpets sound? And then Jack goes, or you could surrender. And then the fight resumes. It just feels like such a like classic moment. You've already like bought into the legend of Jack Sparrow as a character with that, and you get such a thrill out of like these back and forths, and like I remember thinking like, this is already like a golden franchise, because they've already made like Jack Sparrow like a character who's going to live on in cinema history with one film. So it's like I knew it was inevitable that this was going to go on to become a really popular franchise. I
Yes,
just
and a
love it.
trilogy.
Yeah,
A popular trilogy.
yeah,
I mean, it really, I will say, in my opinion, and I know this was happening. I mean, it was off the heels of what, the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Like, I remember that was big around the time.
Yeah.
But
The
it's
one time I actually
still,
cared about Spider-Man.
yeah. Oh
Not a
gosh.
Spidey fan myself.
You know what? I will say, I feel like we have. When I went in, I was like, "Hey, I feel like the comedy in this worked in a way that Marvel should take notes," and you felt that. Like, I
yeah,
feel like we could feel each other on other wavelengths there because,
yeah.
oh my god, um, it's true though. It's so true. I'm sorry, but I
Yeah,
feel like
I think this movie achieves that perfect one-liner, thing that so many movies have tried to do.
they
And
try
Yeah.
to do it and they suck. It's like
yeah,
some superhero movie and they're being really violent and then they say like some haha line and it just takes you out of it and you're like, why are you trying to be funny?
Thank
I get it.
you.
Yeah.
Like, I
Thank
get
you.
you're trying to be funny, but it's not
Right, like everyone
landing.
always quotes that whole thing, like, that's my secret. I'm always angry. I've never found that as profound or funny as other people have. I'm sorry, I'm just like, I don't
Wait,
get
what
it.
is that from?
Is
Sorry.
that
I don't even know. It sounds awful, though.
It's from Avengers, and I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Like,
okay.
and I only like I'm confident the only reason like I can tell you what movie it's from is because everybody freaking repeats it over and over, and it's like
and then you hear the one-liners over and over from this movie, like, but you have heard of me, and they're still funny. Like,
yeah,
how do they have this shelf life?
No, they had the greatest, just clapbacks in that movie. It was just yeah, but you have heard of me, and
But you have heard of me.
yeah, it all worked. Like the comedy in this worked. And I mean, I think it was because they were being like semi-serious off this pirate trope, and it worked. The script worked. It was well written, and the acting was superb on top of it. And it's like, I don't know, like what do I have to do to get that nowadays? I don't know, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it's happening. I don't know, but in a way, I felt that this like reinvigorated kind of the franchise, right? In that time, because I feel like ever since then, it's been all about like being a franchise actor, like having a franchise, and every company kind of wants that. And I know that there was Spider-Man and everything before that, but I feel like this did it in a different way. Like it was like launching like away from the superhero for that, but I don't know.
Yeah, and this film feels genuine because they had this and they thought that was it. Like they just made the best and most interesting film that they could, and it was. And then this huge thing came out of it, but this movie in particular, this first one, really feels genuinely like we did this thing and here it is, and it's not like, hey, buy our merch, like a lot of
Yeah.
the franchise stuff is.
it's almost like if you think you only have one shot at something that that you're being genuine and you're not just trying to advertise
It's
for the
almost like
next
you
thing
only got
coming
one
that's a good
along.
shot.
word.
Do not miss your
Genuine.
chance to grow. Opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo. So
Yes, it's just genuine is the word.
yeah,
It's genuine. Like all of it is the comedy, the acting. I mean, it's genius though, and it's it's like striking that balance between not thinking like you're too good and being lighthearted and serious. It just bounces between these different tones, and it works. It completely works. And it's like something about being a pirate. Like you can be silly and like deadly at the same time, and it completely works because you're not expecting morality, and you can kind of like construct it. I mean, I love that line of, it's not. It's like the pirate code. It's not rules. It's more guidelines.
guideline.
I love
they're
that.
more like guidelines.
I've been quoting
And
that
it has,
for like
and you can't, and it only
15
applies
years.
if you're a pirate too. So, but then we get her being a pirate king later. So it's like, oh, the code now, the guidelines are.
Yeah, they're more guidelines than actual rules. It's great, and I love like the characters quote each other, which is great. It works toward and that works towards being something that people will quote. Is like when the characters start quoting each other, and you'll see that a lot in these movies, but it still works. Like it all works, and that's what I love about
And talking about like characters, quoting certain lines and that being carried forward. Like one of my favorite examples of that is like in this movie, it's sort of a joke when Will says you cheated, and Jack says pirate. But then you get to the second film, and it's when Elizabeth double crosses Jack and leaves him to the Kraken, and the way he goes pirate. It's the gravity of that, and he's actually so proud of her in that moment, even if he's being left behind to die.
Like parlay becomes like a running joke. and it still works. Like, it all works. I just.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, and it's like,
so...
I hate whoever came up with Parley. And he's like, that would be the French.
Oh,
Like,
2003 when we were taking shots at the French at every possible
yeah,
opportunity.
freedom fries.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
what? Master and Commander, right? They had to change the, what was it? They made, was it that they made the French the bad guys too?
They changed it from Americans to the French because
Yeah.
of course we couldn't
Everyone
be
was
the
shitting on the
villain.
French then. And okay, I feel like this is, I don't mean to make this nightly hour episode all about shitting on Marvel, but I will say there are certain things like Marvel that almost have a pretension about them where it's like, you're gonna like this movie. You're gonna come watch this movie. You're gonna watch it 3 times in the theater. You're gonna buy all our merch. And Pirates of the Caribbean was like, here you go. We hope you like it. Like, it just felt more...
It was genuine.
There was, yeah, exactly. There was this genuine kind of idea of, look, we're going to put ourselves out there, but there wasn't this. Also, Pirates didn't have this legacy like a lot of franchises do that they have to live up to, right? Like the new Spider-Man has to live up to the old Spider-Man. And so you have this, it's literally like Christina was saying earlier, it's from a ride. Like, you know, like at Six Flags, you have the rides named after, you know, DC, you know, comic book heroes and whatever. That, you know, of course, Disney, it's usually already a movie that's you know, created after a movie like The Teacups after Alice in Wonderland. But this was literally taken out of nothing. And I think sometimes that is the most, that's why they created something so unique and different, is because they didn't have all of these expectations and all of these kind of, I don't know, norms to deal with.
So the only question I have now is Steven going to give this video a thumbs down because of all the crapping on Marvel?
No, oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry.
Steven, I will at you. Don't.
No, I'm glad that my little comment from the beginning like made it into a thing, because I could go off, but I'm afraid. I had a private bingo card. Like, remember how we all made like I had a private bingo card, and my private bingo card was like, thinks MCU is basic. I think that was like
oh my god. Like
J-Dub's his whole
I'm not kidding. I can go back and like
seriously, I'm part of me is scared about coming on too strong, Christina, but you are like now one of my favorite people.
So refreshing.
I'm like, yo, the MCU is so basic. I'm sorry, it's basic.
Well, I'm a DC fan, so I'm always why does this make more money?
It's not like I'm saying Starbucks is bad. It's just like Starbucks is basic.
But you basic Starbucks.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
look, as someone drinking
like,
LaCroix,
I can use it interchangeably.
Like, I know a little
Starbucks,
thing or two about basic over here drinking my LaCroix.
It's not that I hate Starbucks. It's just like Starbucks.
But to do a little tying into Pirates, I will say if you compare like
Starbucks is not Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Like,
even in
not Pirates of the Caribbean.
What I wanted to say was even an element, you know, like a big key element of like MCU movies is the post-credit sequence. And like if you look at these movies have post-credit sequences, but first of all, for like the first 2 movies, they're jokes. They're not like important like key plot elements that you need to know for the next movie. It's like this one ends with, you know, the monkey grabbing one of the, you know, the coins, and then that gets played off as a joke in the next movie.
No, I analyze that like crazy. I don't know what you're talking about.
The second film ends with like the dog being like, you know, sitting on the throne on the island, you know, and stuff. And the only one that's like of actual real importance, like story-wise, is the post-credit sequence at the end of the 3rd film. But that's giving you like an emotional resolution to the characters in the story, and nobody's paying attention to me now.
Dog with code.
But that's not a setup for the next movie. That's an actual character resolution tying off the story, because there are no more films in the series.
It ended there, and we'll hear nothing more of that.
And so I think that for me is like, if you absolutely must do like post-credit sequences, do that, because I feel like what Marvel movies do is like, we didn't hook you enough with like the end of this movie before the credits. Here's this little extra thing just in case you were disappointed, that's going to get you primed for the next movie that we're now
For the next
advertising
30
to you.
movies. I mean, it's like, stop it. Just, I mean, I remember trying to watch one of the newer Spider-Man, and I just tried to watch it as like regular audience. I love the Tobey Maguire ones, and I tried to watch it and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I feel like I need to watch like 6 movies before.
Yeah, they tie in all of it,
was
so that
so
you feel like you have to
annoying.
watch all of it. Yeah,
It was so
that's what I'm saying.
annoying.
Like a little pretension, of it's like, oh, you haven't seen our 50 other movies. Well, you better get to watching them, audience.
Well,
like they rely so much on the audience to put in so much work, and Pirates of the Caribbean is not like that at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
no.
and that's why, like,
We should
whenever
just
somebody
rename this episode "Shitting on the MCU through
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean."
No, I
Well-
mean, I could do a whole. I mean,
the
Next on the Amy Blackfire podcast, she loses all her listeners by shitting on the MCU.
it's just
yeah, like this
music. It's
thing
like, I
is
like
so
featuring
off
Nitro.
the rails. Like, I don't know how we're even calling this like a nightly hour episode, because we haven't really focused that much.
There.
There.
Ooh,
Put up another picture
Kira.
of her.
One of my best friends' names is Keira, and she's
such a
actually
fun
coming to visit me for the second time because she saw my house. She's like, "This is amazing." So she's coming. She's my friend from Boston, and she's like, "I want to come down.
I'm
It's
visiting
raining
too. You
here."
don't know it, but I'm just gonna show up one day
Come,
with
seriously,
my luggage.
come. No, like she's like, it's raining in Boston. I want to come visit. But anyway, she's like my best girlfriend. Her name's, and I call her Killa K, and so is Kira. She's Killa K. I mean, that's what Kira is.
That's her street name.
I feel like everybody with Kira name is a fucking killer. Like, killer,
You're like automatically
like,
a badass.
killer. I know. Oh my gosh, we went to Harry Potter Land, and she's like, oh yeah, did you? She's like, don't you like Moaning Myrtle? I was like, what? And she's like, I'm Moaning Kira, and she's like, it's just so
No,
funny.
I'm not even gonna touch that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No, it's so funny, but no, Killa K. That's Kira. She's Killa. She's Killa K. And that's Keira Knightley too. That's what I was thinking of today. I'm like, Keira Knightley is a Killa K. She comes up there. She's like, she's just so, I don't know. She's almost ethereal in a genuine way. Like, you feel like you can relate to her, but she's still like so beautiful, and
She feels not of this world and yet approachable. I don't know how she does it.
I know.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, it
and-
should not
and
be
that-
possible, but Keira Knightley does it.
I sent you that text from earlier, but that outfit that she wore.
Oh my God, I'm showing this for everyone right now.
With her 8-pack.
Okay, this is what I woke up to. For those of you watching on YouTube,
Yeah,
I woke
do
up to
it.
this text from Christina.
I'm
and I
like,
was like,
girl, oh my
okay.
God, why is Mickey Mouse
didn't want to wake up this turned on, but apparently that's what's happening. So
No, I was like, by the way, no, because I was thinking about this whole episode. I'm like, by the way, like, let's not forget that iconic Keira Knightley red carpet moment when she like flashed her 8-pack
dang,
casually.
yeah. She does not miss like ab day at all.
She's like, I mean, seriously,
She's doing the crunches.
I don't even know what she's doing, but it doesn't matter because it's just like, she's got an 8-pack. Like, holy shit. She can kick your ass. She can kick all of our asses.
Yeah, I totally haven't like looked at those pictures before. No.
I don't have a whole, folder in my phone that's just thirst, and half of it's Keira Knightley.
Yeah. Keira Knightley, Pirates of the Caribbean 2003 premiere. Yeah.
But no, like, okay, time to get blunt about.
We've been because we've really been dancing around it. So
Yeah. No, like I still remember seeing this movie, and like the moment when it flashes forward to like we start off with the flashback, and then And then like we see like the pirate flag, the music flares up, and then Keira just opens her eyes, and it's like that's how like we like first see her, just her eyes wide open, and like it's demanding like you're drawn into this magnetic person like right off the bat.
And she's like that in so many of her period pieces, like the Duchess. When she first there, you see people far away like running around in white dresses, and then she turns around, you see her face, and you're like, yeah, it's Keira. Like every movie she has this iconic, first view of her.
And it bears mentioning again, even though I've said it before, like the Duchess was the first time when I went to go see a movie purely like without any excuse. I was like, yeah, I'm a Keira Knightley fanboy. I've got no other reason for seeing this, because it wasn't a huge awards contender, and like it wasn't a summer blockbuster or anything. It was like a pure costume drama where the main draw was Keira. I'm like, yep, this is me. I'm going right up to the counter and saying one for the Duchess, please. And yeah, that moment when she first appears and she turns around in that movie, I just remember like heart flutter.
Oh, she's
and then he needed a fainting couch next to him in the theater.
No, she's a fantastic actress. I mean, I get why you stan her.
We stan her so hard.
I mean, same. I know I should have a summer. Maybe it's this summer where I just like watch every movie she's ever been in. And oh my God, look at how beautiful she is. Like,
And when she does that thing, and it's a very small thing, and that's actually, I don't know if it's scientifically, but I'm going to say it. Scientifically been proven that if a woman has her mouth slightly open, not too closed, automatically sexy. Like that, something
Where
about.
Is it? Where is it? Tell me when to stop.
Stop. Right. Wait, no, a little bit less. People who aren't listening to this is podcast, like, what is happening? But like where it's like you can see just the front row of her teeth, but not the bottom row. Like that is sexy. Anyway, scientifically proven women. Like if you ever take a picture, I always take 3 selfies. One with my mouth closed, one slightly open, and one full smile. And the one slightly open, always the sexiest. Now Christina's like, am I doing it?
Tell me when to stop.
Okay, totally off the rails.
I can't.
You look like you're trying to seduce the camera. Like in a really
no
weird
shit. What am I talking to? It's not like you guys are here. I can't use my. I can't use my other.
If I were there, I'd just grab my dirty fingers and move your mouth exactly how it should be. There you go. Okay, that's cute. I like it. And you have to look nonchalant about it, like. John's just sitting there while we pose. This is why, dear listeners, this is why you need the YouTube video. The visuals are the best.
Yeah, this is not going to. I don't think this really is funny for podcast listeners.
I mean, probably. That's why she knows. She's an actress. She knows how to do that. She knows how to make your heart flutter like that.
Well, and it was so funny because I know that when she went to go do Pride and Prejudice, Joe Wright, the director, was always having to say, or to stop pouting, because that's like the natural Keira thing that she does. Which
sexy
is
pout.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then of course when they went to go do the Coco Chanel ads, he was like, okay, bring the pout back.
Bring the pout. Now we need all the pout.
Come pout. No, it's so funny. Like, I don't know. That's why with her, like, it's specifically her, and I hate to be like, ooh, yeah, damn.
It's the slightly open mouth.
Like, I get why she comes across as older and everything like that, and I get it. It's like, it's because, I mean, it's like she's working it, and she knows it, and she has this confidence where I'm not worried about her, if that makes sense. Even as, you know what I mean? Like, I get protective of other women, and I'm like, hey, come here. Like, I know the ways of men. Like, let me guide you. I don't get protective of her. I'm like, girl, can you teach me some tricks? Like, help, like, she knows what, I mean, it's just her demeanor. Like, I feel like she knows what's going on, and she's like, her own. She's so confident. And I'm like, look at that poof. Like, she's wearing that amazingly. She's rocking it. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I look up to you, and so I'm not worried about you. You know, I'm not worried about you. I feel like you've got.
I mean, something's going on when, like, I remember seeing like the posters, because actually I think they used images from the first film when they were designing like the
Oh, yeah, didn't they
posters
like
for
enhance
for,
her
for the
boobs
for
or
the second
something?
film. Oh no, we'll get to that. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember like seeing the posters, and just when I'm like, damn, that's some sexy hair. You know, something's going on. But yeah, no, what they did, and Holly was guilty of this on two occasions with her. With King Arthur, it was for the poster design, where they seriously like just enlarged her boobs on the
Okay.
poster,
I
which
was
is
wondering
ridiculous.
which movie, because I know there was a movie where they like enlarged your
And
boobs. And I
in
was
this one,
like,
in this
come
one, they
on.
actually like painted on like
Like,
bigger breasts. Like they did something with like shadow or something to make them look bigger. And
just
it's like,
stop. She's slim. Like,
yeah,
she's slim. It's okay to be slim and have, you know, an A or B cup. Like, that's totally chill.
yeah, I know that's like
You know, you
that
could be skinny and have an A and a B cup. Sorry, Hollywood. I know.
I know that
That's like most
that shit
skinny
got
women.
cut out with the sequels, because she was like,
Yeah.
no, you're not
Yeah,
doing
I'm
that again.
glad. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. I mean, I don't know. Amy, do you have anything? I mean, I don't
As
know.
someone
like-
who has like size C leaning D cup, it's not that fun anyway. Like my
well,
back
that's the
hurts.
thing is like
I don't know why
for
it's so
her-
glorified.
For her body
and her
shape,
body type, it totally
makes
works.
sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. You don't need to be, and that I mean, I think that that's more of like the 90s creeping in, because I feel like
Yeah.
in the 90s it was all about, you know, like think about like the Pam Anderson like Baywatch stereotype, where you have like really skinny people with big old boobies, and it's
Big
like
old bitties.
that's not, I mean, hey, it can happen and that's good on you, but like it can also not happen and good on you too, right? Like, let's love all bodies. So
Well, yeah, and we already have an issue in Hollywood, and it's also a huge issue in South Korea with women getting plastic surgery because of this unattainable beauty standard. That's like you need
Oh,
to be
God.
skinny, but you know have a lot of
And
boobs,
and
like,
that's
big boobs.
voluptuous yet skinny.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever
But you
seen
need to
the
be curvy, but
subreddit-
also 120 pounds. Like what the hell? Like,
yeah,
No,
like
you-
subreddit men writing women. It's like she
yes.
was so skinny, but like also voluptuous. And it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
men
these
writing
are
women also the
contradicting
Twitter is
terms.
really, really bad, but good. But
well,
bad.
this was something that was really frustrating. I think, because like Hollywood and the public like cultivates this skinny image of, you know, actresses, but then they went after her saying like she was anorexic and stuff. It's like, yeah, so you really just want this apparently unattainable, you know, image of a female actress where she's somehow both at the same time skinny and
Voluptuous. I
and
think would be
voluptuous.
like
Yeah,
the right
it's
term.
like, how about you just mind your own business and appreciate
Well,
her
yeah,
for,
no, I mean,
you know, for
just
her talents, and
her
you
For
know,
what she's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, like she's a great actress first and foremost, and she's beautiful, obviously, and yeah, I think she just she's just a lean, thin person, and that's great. Don't Photoshop her boobs, like just like you don't need to do that.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
I mean,
just- it's
like
so
this,
awful.
and that's a movie where Johnny Depp looks like this. You know, he looks like fucking shit. But Keira Knightley, her boobs aren't big enough. You know, it's like what? So he
No,
can
wait,
be
I read
a
something
grungy
about
pirate,
this scab.
but
Do
she
you see the
can't.
scab on his chin?
Yeah, it's like, but like,
He has a scab on his chin.
but like she has to be a beautiful pirate, really.
Like
Hollywood,
a
come
beautiful,
on.
like, oh my god, I
do like in the, especially the
Captain
third
Barbosa.
movie.
Thank God you could accommodate my like size 0, like double D breast frame. Like what? That's like nobody's
No,
got that on
doesn't
their
exist.
ship. If
Um,
that dress was on the ship, like I would like who like think about 20 or 100 like normal women trying that on.
Yeah.
that dress on that he left on the ship and like being able to fill it out like she did. No, nobody would. I mean, come on.
I mean, they do a little
I'd be
better in
like,
the
this
third
isn't
movie. She
zip.
starts to get a little grungy, like she has like kind of
Be like,
dirt on her
zip.
face, but
Oh god, it stopped. Oh god. Oh god, I got enough. I can't breathe. You know, that's it. Sorry.
But no, like, yeah, I actually, I mean, I love her whole, aesthetic over the course of like from film 2 to film 3, where she fully embraces that pirate image, and she's getting, sort of dirtier, and just by the time she's like, up on top of the ship giving her speech, like she is so into that world. And I always say, like, when we did our rewatch, I was like, Keira putting all male actors to shame with
yes.
her speech delivery and showing them how it's done. Yeah,
I
love it.
love her. So amazing. Like power woman. And you're right, underrated. Underrated, but I almost like that. I almost like it.
Well, yeah, especially like I think part of it also is because over the years she's been very specific about the types of movies that she does. I think
Yeah.
there's
This
this
isn't a
tendency
Hollywood
to,
thing either.
there's this tendency to like, and it's all like, it's part of this whole patriarchal system that's set up where,
Drink. I didn't know we'd have
yeah,
one today. Thanks, John.
where like, because she chooses her projects, and a lot of them are like smaller, a lot of them are period pieces, and she's playing these women that she actually admires, and are, who are strong characters, but somehow she'd be judged to be more successful if she was taking sort of weaker parts but in bigger films that were drawing in a lot of money. I like the fact that she does the projects that she's passionate about, and we've gotten films like in the past couple of years, like Colette, which I think is one of her best movies and strongest performances. And I'd rather see her do that than just take a role in a big movie, Marvel. That wouldn't be as that wouldn't be as rewarding. So
Yeah, and also is just kind of, I guess, going back to shitting on Marvel, is also just kind of a, hey, look, it's a girl. We put a girl in this movie, like they kind of do with Scarlett Johansson there. They're like, look, we're diverse. It's a woman. Oh, we also got a black guy.
Oh,
there
it's
you
a
go.
white woman.
We win.
Yeah. Oh, it's
yeah,
a white
it's just like
woman with like unattainable proportions. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think that,
but her friend is black. It's like that. I mean, that was Captain Marvel for me. I'm like, what? And WandaVision. I'm like, okay, like, come on, be brave, Disney. Put,
I'm like Steve, and I'm
make
ready
a black
for Kamala
woman
Khan.
lead. Like, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm not really sure Disney can be brave unless, like,
Well, they got Ahsoka. That's
unless
like the first black woman led venture,
I'm,
right?
I'm sorry, I was just gonna make like the dad joke that like they can't be brave unless it's the
Dogs.
movie Brave.
Oh my god, stop.
No, yeah, no, and I'm like,
they're on Bourbon Street over there.
Like, and if you have to give me like a Disney cinematic universe, give me Star Wars.
Oh, I'm getting there. Wait, I just read the Thrawn novels. Oh my gosh. Or I'm reading them. I'm not done. But oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love Thrawn.
I never got Thrawn as like a character until no. Let me finish.
Comma.
Like back in the day, like he was very big with the older novels, and people were like Thrawn this, Thrawn that, and when I read those books, I never completely got like why people went nuts over the character. But then when I saw them adapt him into Star Wars Rebels, I was like, holy crap, now I get it. Like, he is freaking awesome. Just his whole vibe and the way that Lars Mikkelsen voiced the character. And so then when I went to go start reading the new books, I was like, I love this guy. He's
Me
great.
too.
So
Wait,
so yeah,
did you read all 3?
I haven't yet.
Oh my gosh. Have you read the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in the second one right now with him. It's like when you find out when him and Anakin are.
Yeah, I really want to read that one.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, I mean, it's if you think Anakin's a whiny biatch, like
Sand. So cool.
I know,
Well-
I know. It's like it's literally a whole book of Thrawn dunking on Anakin, and it's amazing. And I just have to put that out
Well,
there.
yeah,
Anyway, we
well-
should talk about this sometime because
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I could talk
Well,
about.
here's
God
the
for
thing.
Star Wars.
Here's the thing,
We do
though.
a
But
book
like
club?
when I read the new books and there's Anakin stuff, now I picture Anakin from the Clone
Like,
Wars
hating-
animated show.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't think of Hayden anymore, and I don't want to dunk on him, but he's not my preferred version of the character.
I was so thirsty for him when I was a kid, though, or when I was like
Everyone
early
say
teen.
that kind of like.
I don't see it now, but 13-year-old Amy was like,
See,
really
I was
into
all
him.
up. I was all up on Johnny Depp. Like I was like, that's why I'm like, oh, I don't think like Rum Island was so bad because I wanted to be on Rum Island. Yeah, if you know what I mean. I was younger than her. Like I was younger than Keira, and I was like jealous. You know. I was
well, and
jealous
what's
because
funny
she
is
was, like,
I look back at this now and I'm like, why did I really? What is one of the reasons I loved this so much? I was like, oh, this was part of my bisexual awakening because I was into Keira and Orlando.
Kira, Orlando, and like I was in
Like
all
Porque
of
no
them.
los
all
dos.
three, all three. I was like,
All
can I
for
be
it.
part? Can I be part
Dog
of the
pile.
crew? Please, can I be part of the crew in any way possible?
Well, I'm there with you guys on one of those. But no, like it was funny because after this movie, the next thing she did, like as far as like a big movie, was the King Arthur movie, which was not terribly great, but I went to go see it just purely because of Kira. But that was back when like I had like excuses. I was like, no, it's a big like summer blockbuster movie. It's another Jerry Bruckheimer movie. It's about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. No, it was Kira.
Yeah, it's all for her.
Yeah.
Can we wrap this up, Jada? Because I got to teach in 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
So
I can talk about this forever, unfortunately.
we have had a ridiculous rambling conversation that has only occasionally had anything to do with our topic, but it has been a blast. And yeah, Christina, now we are definitely going to talk Star Wars stuff.
Yes,
at
please.
some point, because like and honestly, like I think you just have to come back for the other two Pirates movies.
Yeah, and
because-
then there are no more after that. So unfortunately, that would be the
Yeah.
end of our coverage.
No,
but,
I'm a
you know.
huge pirate. I'm a huge pirates expert. I understand all the confusing stuff. I know about the Calypso.
That's
I'll
exciting.
I'll go replay the Wii
we're
game
definitely
on
gonna have
Twitch.
to
Who
make you
knows?
our resident pirate.
I know,
This-
I know. If I replayed the game on Twitch, would someone watch me? Because I might.
I would.
because
It'd be like
especially
one
after
person, just me.
because especially with the directions that the stream went in, it would just be a letdown if we had like a normal stream with somebody else
That
about
was on topic the whole
sequel.
time. Weird.
No, we can't do that. It's gotta be all over the place. And yeah, so Stephen, not sorry. There was a lot of Marvel bashing in this episode, but it's overdue. Yeah. So just once again, I'll just say that catch the Here Be Dragons 100th episode stream, which will be on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Next week on this show, we'll be getting into X2 with Kelly and Jenna. Amy, what do you got coming up?
You guys listen to the mid-roll, so I'm gonna leave it there, but please check me out on all of the podcast platforms. That's AEMY, Blackfire with a Y. I talk about Song of Ice and Fire, His Dark Materials, Avatar, The Last Airbender, soon The Poppy War, and more. Literally whatever I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about Degrassi and the best Cinderella ever with this girl here. So, you know, we have a good time over on my podcast. And I'm hoping that this summer, because I won't be in classes, I'm hoping July and August will be a big time as far as really crapping out that sweet content for you guys. And what's really fun too is Lynx Fire, me and Lo, when we do stuff, we now have an official mascot, which is the Lynx Fire Lynx. And our dear friend Cassie, aka Reflective Rambling, she drew us a Lynx Fire Lynx, and I'm very excited for that. So that's going to be the title cards from now on for any Lynx Fire content. We're very excited for that.
Yeah, and Christina, just if you want to let the people know where they can reach you and anything
on
you're
Twitter, Lady X Triple, and then at Lipbringers on Twitter and Lipbringers on YouTube. That's my squad.
Yeah, I got to be honest, and Christine, like I mentioned the Star Wars thing, and we're going to have you back on for the pirate sequels. Yeah, if you're not careful, you're just going to wind up being a semi-regular on this channel because this was so much fun.
I don't. I could do my own webcast, but I don't want to. So
it's also surprising that J-Dubs can even like handle both of us in the same episode.
Yes,
because we're both chatty blondes. And so
cheers. I know.
So thank you, J-Dubs, for dealing with
that. I've got thoughts and feelings about the Thrawn novels. Let's go for it, and let's go for the Kyoshi novels. Like they're books.
So excited.
I'm so into them, and I want to talk about them. So come on, guys, do it.
Yeah. Definitely. And just one final comment about the movie. I want to say, because I noticed this when I was doing my rewatch. I love that this movie ends with like classic Hollywood kiss. That like you don't. It's one of the rules that this movie follows. That I think old Hollywood did a lot, where you save the kiss for like the last moment of the film. You make the audience wait for it, and I just love that it has that. Just wanted to mention that because, of course, everybody knows I'm the romantic.
Of course. Also, Cinco de Mayo at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Unspun Yarn. Mama Blackfire is going to be on for a special Mother's Day Bleep the Patriarchy. Bleep it, y'all.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. This was totally not what I expected for this stream, but it was so much fun. And like, I'm so happy to finally have somebody that just came out and said Marvel is basic, because that is like, I have to say, I want to put that as like a tagline, like in my bio on Twitter or something. Like I may just steal that.
I will take the firing squad, and I will say it's on my secret.
Once again, please direct your hate mail to our intern Dan over at Voice of Geekdom.
No, I was like, send it to me directly. I'd love to read it. Sorry, Marvel's basic. I mean, okay, if you love Marvel and you don't love Starbucks, at me. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone for listening or watching, and we will see you next week for some X-Men talk. Have a wonderful day.
Arr.
Arr.